Wow. You guys, you look good. You look good. I like it. I like it. All right? So, good afternoon. My name is Van Graves, and I'm the Executive Director of the VCU Brandcenter. I want to start off with a little mic check, but this is kind of a new school mic check, because as the students processed in, or our graduates, our soon-to-be graduates processed in, people weren't all that noisy, so I'm going to start on this side. Can I just hear what you guys can do? Small but mighty. Small but what can y'all do? Now at the top center, what do you got? Okay, all right. How about over here? I just want you to know there's one guy here in the blue shirt who's just like lit it up, so well done, sir, well done. You know, what a day. This is exciting. It's awesome, 60 weeks ends today. You've done it, you should feel good. We're all here to celebrate you, and this day is yours. But before we get started, there are a few ground rules. They're pretty simple but important. Be respectful, have fun, make noise, take lots of pictures, and it's okay to dance, laugh, and cry, because this is a celebration, and we're allowed to have fun. So, I'm honored. I want to start at this place because I really want to talk about who are the backbone of the Brandcenter and who really make all of this happen and who have led you through these 60 weeks. It's our faculty and staff. And they're what makes the Brandcenter the Brandcenter. And so I just want to take a moment and just welcome them and acknowledge them and all of their hard work. And if we could give them a round of applause. I also want to, he's here, our Dean of the School of Business. My boss is here, Dr. Brian Brown, so he's checking on us, making sure we stay out of trouble. But I really do want to show him how much fun we do have at the Brandcenter, okay? I'd also like to ask the graduates, if you could please stand for a second. Do me that favor. Okay, so you're acting up over here. You're acting up. But I really want to take this moment to give a special shout out for all the parents, partners, loved ones, and friends for this amazing class, because I think we should give them an applause because you wouldn't be here without them and their support. Y'all could have done better because they did better for y'all, but that's okay. We'll talk about that later. Please be seated. Now let's get into it, okay? It's about that time, right? Y'all ready? Well, we're going to start by, got a little feedback. We're going to start by introducing our MC. And her name is Hillary Rogers. Oh, sorry, Rogers. We were trying to get that straight earlier. But before she comes up, I really want to just give you a little background about who she is. Hillary is a member of the Brandcenter's Directors Council, but she's also the Managing Director of Magnetic Field, a community of filmmakers based in Hollywood. She oversees the daily operations and strategic direction of Magnetic Field, and it really focuses on collaborating with directors, producers, and creators. This includes the brand work for independent film and television production company Agbo, which is, for those who may not know, is founded by the Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe, and through her vision and leadership, she has cemented the studio's reputation as a premier destination for exceptional brand storytelling. The other thing I wanted you to note as a side note is that yesterday was Hillary's birthday, tomorrow is Mother's Day, and she spent the last 24 hours trying to get from California here to celebrate the graduates. And so, please join me in introducing Hillary Rogers.
want to take it all in. You all look fantastic. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to this very exciting moment in time. Congratulations to the Brandcenter graduates of 2024. And congratulations to their support network of each and every one of these graduates. Yeah. It's no small thing to choose to dedicate 2 years in honing and discovering your skills and contributions and craft. And it is no small thing to support someone who is doing that. So well done, everyone, and we applaud you and your commitment. As you launch into what's next for you, filled to the brim with your newly mastered skills, your newly discovered skills, and a whole dance card of new peers and mentors and friends, I just want to mention that there's something very special that is born in your relationships when you experience this pressurized environment together. You will always know each other in a very unique way. You will know you can depend on each other and you can call on one another. Answer that call, make that call. Give your opinion and your support when asked. Recommend each other. Keep this connection. Be someone who contributes to your network and expand your network. Through the course of my career, I've been in many different roles. I was an English and theater major in university, doing everything I could until the wee hours of the night, discovering every layer of Shakespeare's meanings that I possibly could discover, staying up until 3 a.m., designing costumes, lighting a set, doing everything it would take to put on our next big show. And then for some reason, I decided to go into finance. And I gave the best series of auditions of my entire life. And I was hired at an analyst training program. And for the first few months of this program, we were in intensive training in learning the language of money, the language of finance, learning Excel for the first time in my case, and supporting each other until the wee hours of the night in a random building in Midtown Manhattan. We built very clear, very strong bonds inside that class that last today, even though I'm in a completely different industry. And then I launched from that industry into being a production assistant. To my parents' horror, driving trucks around New York City, learning how to navigate the traffic and the traffic patterns to get where I needed to be, to pick up the camera in time, to be on set the next day, learning how to lock up Canal Street, which means hold back pedestrian traffic so we could get our filming done, learning all these very specific skills from each other and my fellow PAs and my mentors and the ADs and the producers. Learning how to, in time, stretch a budget that was $5 so it in some way could incorporate the vision of the director and the creative director late at night with all the heads of department, really burning the midnight oil to make that happen. Inside of all of these experiences, they were incredibly intense. We leaned on each other. We knew who we could count on. We knew who would contribute what, and we were often surprised where some of the contributions came from. I moved out of production into Pulse Films, which is a young production company in the UK launching into the United States. There were a lot of frustrations around being the small fish in a very large pond, and there were a lot of inspirations coming from bringing the fresh voice. But it took a lot, and we had to push up our sleeves. The directors, the producers, our friends in finance, the sales reps, to make a name for ourselves and create something unique enough to get noticed and eventually win Emmys and many other awards. I could go on. There's lots of things in life that I've done very intensely, and from it have created these very unique bonds. From each of these boot camps in my very career, I've taken with me into my ever-evolving career path relationships with unique perspectives, people who knew me then and know me now, people I knew then and know now. We see each other through a very diamond lens. You will see each other through a diamond lens. So keep it, feed it, treasure it. This human connection is not only the key to successful branding, as we know, it is also the key to creating an exciting and satisfying professional life. So speak to each other, share, and listen. And with that said, please welcome Professor Holly Hessler to introduce your student speaker.
To see you all. Well, I'm going to flash back to the first time I remember having Deba in class, problem solving. I believe it was Tuesday morning around 8:55 a.m. And in walks Deba. I can't wait for this course. I can't wait to learn from you. I can't wait to work with all these people. I can't wait for the assignments. I can't wait for the semester. I can't wait for everything. And I just thought, this guy is excited. But I was like, that's gonna change. But it hasn't changed, not one bit. Deba remains one of the most excited people to be here, to do work that he loves to do, to work with every single one of you, to take on every single challenge he can find. And I want to take a minute and just say something to you all now, not as professor to student, but as fellow people in the advertising industry. There is nothing more invigorating than working alongside someone who is legitimately excited to be there. So Deba, please hold on to that excitement, and I am very excited to welcome you to the stage.
Yeah, Holly, thank you so much for that incredible, introduction. You wouldn't guess that it took me 3 semesters to get an A grade in Holly's class. Yeah, no, she says I was excited. I got a C my first 3 times, and it was fun. No, this is beautiful. To all the parents, families, you guys are beautiful. You look amazing tonight. Thank you so much for coming out. To my students, my fellow peers, of course, you're gorgeous. Hannah, you especially. Thank you so much for coming out. Faculty, you guys are incredible. You are some of the best people I'll ever meet. And half of you may be praying right now that, God, I hope he doesn't say some weird stuff right now up there. But you know what? Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. If there's one thing I've learned after leaving home, is that life can make sense, and yet at the same time, life can be confusing. Here's an example. A graduation ceremony is a big event like this. It's for family, friends, loved ones, and of course the students here. And this beautiful church right here, it fits all those people, and it's a venue befitting the beauty of this evening. Graduation in this church just makes sense. Logistically, aesthetically, symbolically. Yeah? But somewhere up there is a lost churchgoer who just came in thinking, wow, they're outsourcing sermons to Indians now. And for that guy right there, this is one confusing evening. Depending on who you are and how you look at things, life makes sense, and at the same time, life can be confusing. When I decided to pursue a master's degree 2 years ago abroad, I knew it had to be in a place that was the best of the best and nothing less. A place where I'd be surrounded by talented people who would push me creatively and intellectually. When crossing 2 oceans to come to one of the best ad schools in the world, VCU Brandcenter, of course, just made sense.
Coming into my first class in a different country and being asked by my professor to name a fish for an assignment was kind of confusing. Where's KT? Yeah, not gonna lie, kind of questioned some choices there. Brandcenter has made so much sense to us all, and yet Brandcenter is a confusing place. And I think that's the coolest thing ever. That's the most exciting thing in the world. 70 beautifully talented students from every walk of life, growing, learning, brute force into becoming superstar ad people over 60 grueling weeks. There's nothing quite as humbling for me. Because truth is, I came here imagining myself to be better than I actually was. I leave this place hopefully better than I ever imagined myself to be. And I think that's where the confusion came for me, at least. It came from this idea that I had to be a certain way because of who I was. That I had to meet these expectations I imagined for myself because of where I'm from. That I had to speak a certain way because I looked the way I did. And maybe some of you feel the same as I did too, so maybe you don't. And that makes sense. After all, Brandcenter is confusing precisely because it's a place that makes us reject who we think we need to be and learn to embrace who we really are. And that makes sense. It's written on the wall there after all. I know all of you have seen this. You guys click pictures of it on your first year. Welcome to the school that teaches you to be more like you and less like everybody else. You couldn't be like anyone else here if you tried, if I'm being honest. The people here are a confusing bunch after all 70 of them. We have an art director who works for a renowned magazine while running marathons and captaining the Brandcenter soccer team while probably solving world hunger as a side project. She says captaining the soccer team has been the tougher task out of those all. There's a strategist dad who makes award-winning work while being a supportive figure to all his teammates. If you're seeing this Graham Keithley up there, age 1.5, every person who's worked with your dad is basically a sibling now. He says it's my turn on the Xbox next. There's a soon-to-be CBM mom, happy birthday by the way, who's so incredibly talented and hardworking. The baby's first words are probably going to be, "Can we connect to discuss strategy, mom?" There's a copywriter who was a paramedic. What did I say to that? There's no flow chart here for my jokes. I don't know where to go with. There's a copywriter here who was a paramedic. That's a true story. We have an experienced designer who is an art director, who was an art history teacher, who is a brilliant artist, and who is also my family in this place, in this country. And then there's 64 more students, just as brilliant, just as confusing. And yet, it's in looking back at all you've done, all you've been, that you make sense to me. You make sense to me as professionals I will have the utmost respect for, wherever in the world we may be. You make sense to me as peers I learned just as much as I did from my professors. You make sense to me as benchmarks to aim for, being the brightest talent this industry will have in the coming days. And above all, you make sense to me as the best friends and the first friends I made this side of the world. And I hope that whenever life and work may confuse you, you will remember this. You are my greatest pride, and you always will be. That somewhere in Mumbai, there are people looking at your portfolios because I never did stop bragging about the incredible people and friends I'd made at the VCU Brandcenter, Richmond, Virginia, 8,069 miles away from home. And I know it's a confusing time once we leave those doors right there. But God, has it been an honor to stand here today before you and represent you lovely, lovely people. And as we gather one last time, I wish I had a better poignant point to make, but I don't. I wish I had a motivating speech at hand or a deeper insight into our time, and I could push you into the future with advice and sage things to learn on. But I don't. I wish I wasn't confused about what a graduation speech is supposed to be, because if there's one thing that makes sense to me in this final moment of the class of 24, it's how terribly I'm going to miss you all. That once we go our separate ways, I hope you miss the people next to you. The ones you made your best work with, the ones who made you pull your hair out before deadlines, the ones you shared basement tables or beers in dimly lit bars with, the ones you saw once a semester, and the ones who stayed from week 1 to 60. And if you get a moment, I hope you miss me too. 2 years ago, I traveled 2 oceans to enroll in the world's best ad school, the VCU Brandcenter. The morning I left India, I said I said goodbye to family, friends, and a home I had known for 24 years of my life. It was the toughest decision I ever made, and to feel the weight in my heart that I did back then made sense. Today, I say goodbye to friends, peers, mentors, and a home I've known only for 2 years. And that's not a long time, I suppose. But there's the same weight in my heart that I felt back then 2 years ago. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world today, because to feel what I do for you today, you 70 people, I don't think that's confusing at all. To the Brandcenter faculty, staff, families, and loved ones, and the wonderfully confusing 70 graduating students present here today, I'm David Shistumbe, and thank you for the best 2 years of my life.
That was wonderful. I hope someone recorded it. So as Van mentioned earlier, my travel here was a little bit tense. Lots of canceled and delayed flights. I'm on crutches right now, by the way, in anticipation of a knee surgery on Monday. I managed to achieve the hat trick of a torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus. So my husband likes to call it the Crown Royale with cheese. So with the tornadoes wreaking havoc in Texas and for all of the traveling that's coming through to get here, I found myself in a very, very long line at customer assistance in an effort to get here in time for this graduation. And while determined to stay optimistic with my game face on, I'm tired, I'm swollen, I'm a little bit in pain, and I am so hot, and I am leaning heavily on my crutches. When a pair of gentlemen, and there's really no other word for them, who were standing behind me in line, tapped me on my shoulder and offered to hold my place in line so that I could go and sit down. And that was the ultimate act of kindness, brought about by paying attention and knowing they could do something to help another. It's a small thing, and it's not a small thing at the same time. I'm regularly inspired by those around me at work and at play, who stay curious about others and the world around them, who listen, really listen, with their ears or their eyes when others are communicating. I can only imagine how well developed in these skills our commencement speaker, Chioma Abdua, is. To win 9 new business accounts in a year, reposition global brands to thrive, and lead the teams responsible for client relationships and operations at Droga 5. She knows how to connect and listen for what is needed. In short, nurture a thriving network of people and relationships to achieve great things. Not to mention working across one of my favorite campaigns, the Protect Like a Mother. That one really got me. Please welcome Chioma Abdua.
Hello, class of 2024. I'm so honored and excited to be here, and I'm already super touched by everyone that has spoken before me. But I want to say congratulations, obviously first and foremost, for reaching this milestone in your journey. I extend my gratitude to Dr. Graves, your Directors Council, faculty, staff, and everyone who's contributed to your remarkable education at the Brandcenter. I've held the Brandcenter in high regard for a long time. It's not just because of the esteemed reputation for excellence or the significant impact it's had on advertising and design industries, but also because of some of the brightest minds I've had the privilege of partnering with have come from this esteemed institution. Just this week, I just added this morning because this happened this week. Just this week, I was in a kickoff meeting with a new client listening to a strategist who was presenting some sharp, incredibly smart thinking. And I thought to myself, we gotta keep that guy around. As soon as the meeting ended, he leans over to me and he says, I saw you presenting at Brandcenter. I went there. So needless to say, you all are ridiculously lucky. Today you graduate from what many consider the top graduate advertising program in the nation. The Brandcenter has nurtured some of the finest creative talents in our industry, individuals who've gone on to tackle the challenges facing our most iconic brands, and even address societal issues confronting the world at large. Your Brandcenter degree will open countless doors, and I urge you to walk through them with confidence. As I reflected on what message would resonate most with you today, I realized that sharing insights into what lies beyond that open door, in the real world, as they say, would be invaluable. I've spent 2 decades navigating the very path that you all are about to embark upon. As I draw on those experiences, I hope that I can offer a little bit of guidance. Well, I'd love to say that my journey began with me pulling up into New York City in 1996 in a red Saturn, complete with a leaky sunroof and a broken spoiler. The truth is, my professional lessons began long before my first paycheck. I went to school at Penn State University. I competed on the track and field team there. Arriving on campus, I was humble but confident, knowing that my achievements had earned me a place on that roster. My freshman year was promising. I set a lot of personal records. I led the team in my events. My sophomore year was pretty much the same, but I did start to notice like a little shift happening. Athletes that I had consistently and historically beaten were beginning to outperform me. Despite the fact that I was bigger, stronger, they were hitting marks and qualifying for meets that I'd honestly never even dreamed of. And while it was painful and frustrating, it led me to a very humbling realization. You can outwork talent. Before college, I always considered myself a hard worker, and I was. But I also knew that I was the fastest kid on the playground, I was the highest jumper in ballet, and I had a God-given talent that somewhere in my subconscious I always thought would be enough. The truth is, as you transition from amateur to the big leagues, no matter the field, your talent matters less and less. It becomes the baseline because everybody has it. The true difference maker is what you do with it and the discipline you apply. Talent is important, but it is not a crutch that will carry you through the finish line. The world is filled with a great many talents who never reach their potential. And I don't say that to sound discouraging, but quite the opposite. While we're not all born gifted, we all can work hard. And hard work alone can put success within reach. I learned that lesson in sport, and if I've achieved anything on the professional field, I know it has far more to do with working hard and working smart than it does with any natural gifts. As Hillary mentioned, I'm currently serving as president of Droga 5, and while I started that role just last fall, I've been speaking to the agency since 2017. Over the last 7 years, they've reached out to me for different roles, or I would fire off an email to them saying, what do you guys have cooking? Countless drinks, dinners, meetings, and opportunities that never materialized. If I had to pinpoint a reason why I've been working at Droga for months instead of years, I would say a lot of it had to do with me. I constantly questioned if the time was right, if the role was right, if I was right in the role at the time. I loved the agency, I respected the founder, I admired its leaders, and I was touched by the work. All that overthinking truly was just fear dressed up as questions. What I wish I'd asked myself instead was, do their values align with mine? It was around this time last year when Droga 5 called again asking about the president role. I took the first call primarily out of curiosity, but even then, before they even uttered a single word, I didn't think I was going to take it or it was going to work out. You see, when I first took that call, I was pregnant. And I knew by the time things got down the line and really firming up, I'd be very pregnant. After a few conversations, my curiosity grew into intrigue, and I made the decision to let Droga in on my happy news. I told them that I wasn't sure the timing made sense for me, and if it didn't make sense for them, I would completely understand. Thinking this was where our roads would part, I instead received an enthusiastic email from their then CEO, expressing his congratulations and also his commitment to see it through. I was their only candidate, and if it worked out, they would wait for me. And that told me everything I needed to know about what they value. Expanding your family comes with its own set of challenges: the adjustment of time, the toll on your body, mental exhaustion. Switching jobs at that milestone is not something I would actively pursue, and frankly, I'm not sure I'd recommend it. But sometimes in life, the perfect opportunity arrives at an imperfect time. Despite my fears of starting a demanding job while welcoming a newborn, life and work have taught me that everything you want is on the other side of fear. Fear is a useful tool, don't get me wrong. It keeps us safe, but it also acts as a signpost. It shows us where we need to grow. In your career, you will meet a number of crossroads. Some will make you question your capability. Do I have what it takes? Some will leave you asking about your readiness. Is now the time? The voices and questions will never end. The simple fact that you're being tapped for an opportunity should give you your answer. Sometimes the outside world perceives you in ways that you could never see yourself. Learn to quiet the voices of doubt. Do the things you're afraid of. Otherwise, you'll stay in the same place your whole life. Lastly, many people will tell you to follow your dreams or your passions. My final piece of encouragement is to follow your talents. They will become your passions and the stimulus for your dreams. I'm sure you already know this, and it's likely why you're sitting in these seats today at the very best advertising school in the country. As your career progresses and focuses, strive to excel in things you do better than anybody else. Be diligent, be disciplined, be consistent, and hope to get a little lucky along the way. Insist on excellence as your starting point. While talent alone isn't enough, it remains a wonderful place to begin. Before I conclude, I'd like to talk a little bit about the state of the industry. There are currently numerous questions swirling around about the future of advertising. Does it have a future at all? Will clients bring the work in-house? Will AI encroach upon the space once dominated by creative minds? I regret to say that the answer to that last question is yes. However, here's the silver lining. There will be a resurgence. When I came onto the scene, the big threat to our existence was digital advertising. Boutique shops popped up all over the landscape claiming they had the answer. They knew how to create it, build it, track it, measure it, and optimize it. And every client wanted to buy it. Fast forward 10 years, and every agency had a digital department baked in, complete with their own strategists, creatives, and a chief digital officer to lead it all. Fast forward another 10 years, and you see the dismantlement of the digital as a department, and in its place is the expectation that every single employee understands that practice. So a resurgence is inevitable. Just as there was at the inception of TV, the rise of TiVo, the advent of social media, so will be true now with AI. Our field is resilient and filled with creative individuals who not only reinvent brands, but also themselves. These looming questions have haunted our industry before, and they likely will again. Yet with each cycle, only one type of agency survives. It's not the creative agency, the media agency, or the brand agency. It's the modern one. The same holds true for individuals. So when the winds of change begins to blow, embrace what lies ahead. Don't resist it, don't fight it. Be the first to understand it and adapt. In both your personal and professional life, you'll find that while change can be difficult, it's often your friend. Congratulations once again to the class of 2024. Embrace the journey ahead with determination and optimism. Congrats.
The Brandcenter Initiative Award is presented to a student who has made a significant contribution to the Brandcenter experience, inspiring both their faculty and peers with their work ethic, and their overall professionalism while maintaining an outstanding academic record. This individual have demonstrated a commitment to individual leadership while displaying an overarching dedication to collaboration. Through innovation, motivation, initiative, and perseverance, this student will have gone above and beyond, demonstrating a commitment to creating positive change in our community. The recipient of the Student Initiative Award is selected by Brandcenter faculty and leadership. Kevin Rothermel will now present the Student Initiative Award.
Hey. Remember, it wasn't too long ago, first semester, when I said no notes while you're presenting? Good afternoon. We're often asked by applicants, what is it that we look for in a Brandcenter student when we're evaluating applications? And aside from the usual attributes that you'd expect, creativity, smart thinking, and in my case, the patience to endure an endless barrage of dad jokes, we also hope to get a glimpse into the intangibles, traits that show potential in the work, as well as the potential to add richness and vibrancy to the culture of the school and industry. I like to think that we have a pretty good track record. If you look right over here, a lot of special people over there. But every once in a while, someone comes along that stands out as truly extra special, someone who you know is going to go out into the world and represent the best of the Brandcenter. Derek Martin is the archetype of that student. Not yet. When I asked the faculty and staff for their thoughts on Derek, what I heard mirrored my own experience with him for the past 2 years. As you've all experienced, Derek lights up the room. His work ethic, positivity, and sense of humor make him someone that anyone would want on their team. He's also an Oscar-worthy mainstay in project videos and skits. Around the Brandcenter and in his involvement on Brand Central, which is our student government, he is typically the first to raise his hand to help out, whether it's checking students in for Friday forums, giving tours to prospective students, or cleaning the student kitchen. I've been assured that he is an all-timer at keeping the student kitchen clean. And I would like for us all to sort of pause and reflect on the things that he's seen in doing so. All in all, Derek Martin is one of the kindest people you will ever meet. He's been an absolutely wonderful student, and he's no doubt going to go on to a brilliant career. It's been my pleasure to work with him during his time here, and it is my honor to present Derek with this year's Student Initiative Award. Derek, come on up.
It's now time to award diplomas to the class of 2024. These students have earned a master's degree in business and branding. Alexandra Abbott. Ariel Aidens. Depanshi Argawal. Carly Eldapi. Miranda Arias. Taylor Bendis. Amber Bills. Hannah Boyd. Hunter Chambers. Celeste Chance. Jade Chen. Michelle Chu. Hazel Chimino. Paris Cipollone. Catherine Clark. Anna Lyle Cullett. Jack Damar. Molly Devereaux. Devashish Dumbre. Catherine Embledge. Cole Farah. Raquel Farashetian. Anari Fleming. Michelle Fanacaro. John Franco. Troy Foltz. Chelsea Glowacki. Sarah Gray. Sarah Harden. Andrew Harper. Keith Johnson. Maya Catalina Conkey. Ed Keithley and Graham. Kevin Kelleher. Hannah Kent. Selma Ketwick. Dom Kun. Helena Caduce. Caitlin Crine here. Ralph Levy. Gabrielle Laughlin. Millette Mackey. Claire Malone. Derek Martin. Taylor Martin. Nick Martinez. Athena Michaels. Dominic Militello. Elizabeth Miller. Madeline Miranda. China Napper. Sarah Newman. Brian Nguyen. Cameron Norman. Reagan O'Donnell. Isabella Piazzantine. Bryce Randall. Kyle Rayo. Jessica Reporti. Cameron Rogers. Taylor Sarlo. Emery Schindler. Shunjie Shan. Alex Smith Scales. Luke Strother. Tamari Tapuns. Jennifer Valerio. Gray Walters. Max Warren. Ora Watanatam.
y'all. The 60 weeks, I mean, y'all are really close to wrapping this up. But if just a few more things, you can get out of here and do the things y'all do after graduation, which you can do now because you're no longer on our time. No. Honestly, though, class of 2024, we're proud of you and your accomplishments. You've made it, you're done, and you're through with the Brandcenter, only for a short time, and then we'll just call you up as alums to help out with the next group of students. But today is the first day of the rest of your life. You received your master's degree, well, a piece of paper that, that has your name on it possibly, but anyway, you'll receive that in the mail. But you've received your master's degree, and just know that that's not your legacy. Today it all begins. But your legacy isn't a piece of paper, it's not a job, it's not your name on a building, it's not being written up in a magazine or a book. It's about how you impact people in their lives. Please add value to this world. That is what you're here for. That is what you're working towards. Please do that, and that's important. Before we go, I want to share some words of wisdom that I've collected over the past 2 years during office hours. Some of these things I gave you, some of these things you gave me. But I think I should share with everyone. First of all, value the journey. It's not the destination, but every step you take, every moment of uncertainty, every leap of faith. Yes, you may stumble and fall, but get up. Please get up. Protect your dreams. Embrace uncertainty. Celebrate your successes, but don't underestimate or overlook the wisdom in your failures. Holly has amazing shoes. I wanted to say that twice, but y'all get it. Listen to others, but trust your inner voice the most. It's easy to get drowned in a sea of opinions, which can lead to self-doubt and imposter syndrome. That said, listen to Ashley. She knows what she's talking about, okay? A bird in hand is worth two in a bush. It's an old saying, but it still is relevant. Finally, maintain a sense of wonder. Look up at the stars, marvel at the sunrise. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom, the catalyst for curiosity, and the doorway to empathy. Well, I guess it's about that time. But before we get there, don't make any noise quite yet, everybody. But when they're ready, y'all need to really set it off, okay? Y'all got it? You know what y'all need to do? Okay, we good. Well, class of 2024, please stand. To all here to witness, I'd like to present the graduating class of 2024 from the VCU Brandcenter. Congratulations.